Jai Hind to all. Myself Shikha Agarwal, Assistant Professor in AKG College. Today we are going to discuss about the next topic of computer networks, that is a wired LANs, Ethernet. As we have already discussed about the IEEE projects, so we know that IEEE project 802 is being launched for the networking and placements. So into that case, we are going to discuss about the IEEE 802.3, 0.4 and 0.5 protocols. So first of all, here we are going to discuss about IEEE 802.3, which is also being called as wired LANs, that is an Ethernet. So when we talk about the IEEE standards, as we all are aware that in 1985, the CS Society, Computer Society of the IEEE, they have started a one project, and that particular project is called as an 802. Basically, this particular project is a set standard to enable the intercommunication among the various equipments from the variety of manufacturers. Basically, this particular project is a way of specifying the functions of the physical layer and the data link layer of major layer LAN protocols. Okay. So into this case, we are going to discuss about the IEEE standards. First of all, we should know where is the position of that particular protocols. So as we know that there is a data link layer which exists between the physical layer and the upper layers like a network layer and transport layer. So into this, as we know, then when we talk about the data link layer, it is divided in the two parts, LLC layer and MAC layer, right? Logical link control and MAC layer. So when we talk about the MAC layer, into which we are using a n number of protocols. So out of all those protocols, today what we are going to do it, we are going to discuss about Ethernet, token ring and token bus. Or in a IEEE standards, we can say that we are going to discuss about 802.3, 802.4 and 802.5. So before that, we are going to start with IEEE first standard, that is 802.3, which is also called as an Ethernet. When we talk about the Ethernet, the original Ethernet was created in 1976 at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, and into this they have generated the 4 generations of Ethernet, right? So basically all those 4 standards of Ethernet, one by one we are going to discuss in this lecture. When we talk about the first standard, in this case we have various categories and so on. So before that, we should know what is the Ethernet evolution, under which we are going through the 4 generations. When we talk about the Ethernet evolution, basically they have categorized based on the speed, on their cables and so on various parameters. So I will give you a brief introduction about the standard Ethernet, and on the basis of that it varies in the rest of the Ethernets. So the first evolution is that we are talking about the standard Ethernet. This is the first generation. This is the very basic protocol of Ethernet, which is having a 10 Mbps of speed. The second, we are having a fast Ethernet, because in the standard Ethernet, all the categories of standard Ethernet is having a speed of 10 Mbps, due to which they have increased the speed. Why? Because the number of users are increasing day by day, right? So due to which they have increased the speed of 100 Mbps. As we know, because we are living in a 21st century, so we know that every day the net usage is being increasing day by day. So now we are having a next Ethernet, that is a gigabit Ethernet, which is of 1 Gbps, and the last we have a 10 gigabit Ethernet, in which it is having a 10 Gbps speed. So this is the 4th generation or the evolution of Ethernet. Before we start with the standard Ethernet or the generations or the evolutions, we should know what is the frame format, which is one of the most important question in our papers. Generally, they used to ask you about the frame formats of various protocols. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the frame format for the 802.3, or we can say we are going to discuss about Ethernet. So these are the various parameters in the case of Ethernet. First, we have an preamble bits. When we talk about the preamble, when we are talking about the preamble, basically it is a 56 alternative bits, which is the combination of ones and zeros. So we can say when we talk about it is a 7 byte long, so we can say it is an alternative ones and zeros up to a 56 bits, which represents that it is a preamble. Basically it is being used to synchronize the data, right? Second, we have a SFD. And when we talk about the SFD, it is a start frame delimiter. As we all are aware that when we are talking about the data link layer, into that case we are having a header format where we need to show that from which bit the frame is being starting, right? So into this case we are having an SFD, start frame delimiter, which is of 1 byte long, and its value is being fixed 10101011, because if we are using the start frame delimiter of this flag bits, then it indicates that we are using the 1010, it means it is an Ethernet. After that, we know that the MAC address is of 6 byte long, due to which destination address and source address. Destination address is one who is a destinated or the receiver, address of the receiver. When we talk about the source address, basically it is the one who sends the message or the sender's address. Both the addresses are of 6 byte long because we are talking about the Ethernet and or we are talking about the MAC layer. In the MAC layer, whatever the addressing we are using, it is a physical addressing, and physical address is of 6 byte long. Then after that we are going to discuss about the length or the type. It is of two types. When we talk about the length into this case, so we can say when we talk about the minimum payload length, it should be 46 bytes and it goes up to the maximum payload length, that is a 1500 bytes, right? So due to which when we talk about the length of that particular frame, so we can say if it is a 2 byte long, then we can say minimum frame is of 64 bytes and similarly the maximum is of 1518 bytes long, right? This is the basically we are talking about the length or the type. As we know, the last parameter is in CRC. In the CRC, we are using the one type of an error control method. So in this case, when we talk about the Ethernet, we are using a CRC, cyclic redundancy check, which shows how the parameters is being filled and it will check whether we are receiving a secure data or not. Into that case, we are using a 4 byte long. When we talk about the Ethernet, into this case, now we are left with the one parameter, that is a data and padding. As we know, the minimum frame length is of 64 byte. Out of all these 64 bytes, we can say the payload length should be of 46 bytes, right? Because 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 2, 14, 14 plus 4 is 18. So out of this 64, we have to reduce and then we are getting the payload length of that data. Now after that, when we talk about the Ethernet, this is the basic architecture or the frame format when we are delivering the data from the data link layer by using the Ethernet. When we talk about the address representation, as I have already told you, when we talk about the source and the destination address, it is a 48 bit or you can say 6 byte long. When we are having a 6 byte long, remember one thing, whenever we represent the Ethernet address, it should always represent in an hexadecimal notation in which each and every hexadecimal is being separated by colons. And out of which each and every hexabyte is representing the 4 bits. So for example, if I am representing 0, so it will representing 4 times 0 when we represent the data in 48 bits. As we know that the Ethernet address is of 6 byte long, due to which 6 into 8 bits, 1 byte is equals to 8 bits per second. So we can say it comes out to be 48 bits, and when we represent into an hexadecimal notation, it gives a 12 hexadigits. So each digit represents the 4 bits. Now after that, as we know that when we talk about the data link layer, we are traveling the data from the one node to the another node, because the data link layer provides the node to node delivery, right? Now when we talk about the addressing, in this case, how we came to know that whether the address is unicast, whether it is being used for multicasting or for a broadcasting. So as we know the address is of 6 byte long, so we should know how to check whether the data or the address is which type. So into that case we are having a 3 types of addressing: unicast, multicast and broadcast addressing. So into that case, as we know the header is of 6 byte long, so we are representing the 6 bytes. After that we have to mainly focus only the first byte, in which we have to talk about the least significant bit of that particular byte. So you can see when we talk about the first byte, all the 5 bits can be anything, 0 or 1, but if the least significant bit is 0, then we can say it is a unicast address, and if the least significant bit is 1, then we can say it is a multicast address, right? Then you can read also that when we talk about the least significant bit of the first byte defines the type of the address. If that particular bit is 0, then we can say the address is used to be unicast. Otherwise, if the bit is 1, then we can say it represents the multicast address. Now the question comes where we have discussed about the unicast addressing and multicast addressing. After that we are going to focus on the broadcast destination address. Basically it is a special case of the multicast address. Remember one thing, when we talk about the broadcast address, into that case all the bits are ones. When we talk about the all the bits are 1, which indicates that from the first byte of each and every bit, each and every value is of 1 in each and every byte. Then we can say it is called as a broadcast address, right? So let's do one numerical onto the basis of that unicast, multicast and broadcast addressing. Now you can see the example. Suppose if I am giving you a question that define the type of the following destination addresses. So what we need to do is we need to discuss about the addressing. So first of all you can see all the addresses are written in a 12-digit hexadecimal, or we can say they are representing in a hexadecimal notation, right? So into that case what we have to do, we have to check the least significant bit of that data. So when we talk about the first address, it is written as 4A. This is the first byte of it, right? When we write as a 4A, so which indicates that we need to check the 4A, right? When we talk about the 4, so we know that the address of the 4 is 111,000, right? Or sorry, we have to write for 4, so we have to calculate first, right? So we have to write 0100, right? This represents 4. Then we have to write A. When we write A, it means we have to talk about 10. So if we talk about 10, then we came to know it comes out to be 1010, right? After this, we came to know the least significant bit is 0. If the least significant bit, rest of the byte we are not considering it, and rest of the bytes also not considered. So we have to check the least significant bit, which is 0, which represents that it is a unicast address, right? After that we are going to discuss about the next address. This is 47. So 4 should be the same, but when we represent the 7, it comes out to be 0111, right? So when we talk about the least significant bit, this is 1. As we know, if the least significant bit is 1, then we can say it is a multicast address. So the second address is the multicast address. The last, we are going to check all F. First of all, we are going to check the first byte. If it is F, then it indicates we need to check the rest of the address. So when we check all the 6 bytes, and we can see F means 15, which indicates all the bits are of 1s. As we have already studied that if all the bits are 1, it indicates then it is a broadcast address, right? This is the way how you need to show the address. Now let's discuss about the next example. They say show how the address this particular is being sent out on a line. When we talk about how it is being sent on a line, remember one thing, the address is sent from left to right. right? Or you can say byte by byte. For each byte, it is being sent from right to left, or you can say bit to bit, right? Just say, for example, when I'm having this type of address, first of all, we have to convert it into the binary. So as I have converted into it, after that, we have to see that how it is being representing. When we convert 47, it means this is being representing from right to left. This is the first byte, you can say. It is being representing this way, right? So whenever it travels to this side, it will travel the data, although we have written into this format. So this is the way how the addressing is being sent onto a line. Now after that, we are going to discuss about the standards Ethernet. As I have already told you that Ethernet is being divided in the 4 evolutions or generations. So out of that, first of all, we should know the standard Ethernet. That particular standard Ethernet, its implementation is being divided in the 4 categories based on the thickness or based on the base of that particular implementation. Suppose you can see when I'm talking about, it is being categorized 10 base 5, 10 base 2, 10 base T and 10 base F. Each and every is having a 10. When I'm talking about 10, because as we have already stated that when we talk about the standard Ethernet, its speed is 10 Mbps, due to which each and every category is being including the 10. When we talk about the base 5, base 2, base T and so on, so on the basis of that, there is a variation on the basis of their cables, right? Like suppose if I am talking about the encoding into the systems, so we can see whenever we are doing the Manchester encoding or decoder, it always travels the data with the 10 Mbps because we are traveling the standard Ethernet which is having a 10 Mbps of data, right? Suppose if I am talking about its categorization, so when we talk about its categorization, suppose if I am using the word 10 base T, as we know when we talk about the speed, it is 10 Mbps, right? So we are using the speed as 10 Mbps. Then after that we are having a base 5. There is a variation into a base XYZ values in all the implementations. So when we talk about the base, basically it is using a baseband which is of digital. The next we are having a 500. It means whatever the cable we are using between the senders and receivers, that particular cable thickness is to be of 500 meter and that particular cable is used as a thick coaxial cable and it is being used in a bus like topologies, right? So you can see the diagram also. In this we are using the bus architecture, bus topology, in which we are having a cable ends, in which we are using a thick coaxial cable which is a maximum of 500 meter. And remember one thing, when we talk about the bus topology, into that case we are using a taps. So tap, or you can say transferable cables, which is also a maximum of 50 meter. This is the way how the 10 base T5 means. Similarly, when I am using the word 10 base 2, it means we are using the speed of 10 Mbps, in which we are using the baseband as digital and having a 185 Mbps speed. Similarly, here also we are using a bus topology. We are also using for the bus topology, but in spite of using a thick coaxial cable, we are using a thin coaxial cable. As you can see, here we are using a 500 meter cable, right? But in this case, we are only using a 200 meter, or we can say the maximum is of, in spite of using a 200, like this is an approx value, but this is the exact value, that is in 185 meter, right? 200 is basically given for the name of implementation. That is why they have used the base 2. Otherwise, the exact value is 185 meter. When we talk about the next implementation, that is a 10 base T. When we talk about the 10 base T, T means in spite of coaxial cables, we are using a twisted pair cables. As we know, the twisted pair cables are of two types, STP and UDP. So here we are using a unshielded twisted pair cables in spite of shielded, or you can say STP cables. The next is 10 base F, we know that in spite of using the cable system, we are more moving towards the fiber optics. That is why the standard implementation says, in spite of using a coaxial cables and twisted cable, we are using a fiber optics. Into this case, we are using the fiber optics of 10 base F. So this is basically a standard summary between the standard Ethernet implementations. This is the differentiation between both the all the 4 categories of the standard Ethernets. So by this we have covered the IEEE 802.3. As we have already discussed that when we talk about the Ethernet, it is having a various categories also. So these all categories is also being depending upon the various types of topologies, cables, length, speed and so on. Similarly like a standard Ethernet. So here I have discussed the one type of category of Ethernet, that is a standard Ethernet, right? So after that we have covered about the IEEE 802 project, which is in IEEE 802.3. This is called as an Ethernet. Now after that we are going to talk about the next protocol, which is called as a token bus. As we have already covered about the topologies, so we know the bus topology. Basically this architecture is also being based upon the bus topology, which is also called as a project of 802.4. When we talk about the token bus topology, it is a very popular standard when we are talking about the token passing between the LAN networks. Whenever we are creating a token passing LANs, into which case the physical media is a bus or a tree-like structure in which we are creating a logical ring-like structure by using the various types of coaxial cables, whether we are using thin cable or thick cable. So into that case, you can see when we are having this type of a cable is a long cable and we can mold it into this way, then we can say we are creating a ring-like structure. When we talk about the token bus, the token is being passed from one network to another network or to the node, into which they are being traveled in a sequence manner, one after another. Or you can say whenever we did then implementation of the token bus, it always be standard into the ring-like structure. Now you can see, suppose we are having a token bus, these are the bus and this is the way how we are representing the station. So we have to represent the data, we have to travel the data in one direction, either a clockwise or anti-clockwise. So suppose station 3 wants to transmit the data to station 1, then to the station 2 and so on. So it means we can say that we are moving into one direction, right? A station can only transmit the data when it is having a token. Whosoever is being hiring the token, then only is having a right to travel their data. Otherwise, they have to wait for the certain amount of time, they have to enter into the waiting queue. Until and unless the token will not get free, then each station will not be able to transmit the data. Each node knows the address of the station before it will transmit the data. And when the station is having a token, then only it is having a right to broadcast the data. Now when we talk about its frame format, into this case there are again the various parameters we have. First we are having a preamble. Again, as I have told you in the MAC or Ethernet, we have to use the alternative bits of ones and zeros, which is a preamble. The next we have, okay. So when we talk about the preamble, it is being here we are using for the 1 byte field and it is being used for the bit synchronization. The next we are having a SFD. When in this case we have used the SFD, here we are using a SD, which is called as a start delimiter. And similarly in the end we have to use the flag bits, or we can say these are also called as a flag bits or header and tailor bits. This is basically is a 1 byte long and it is being used to represent the marking for the beginning of the frame, or it is being marking in the end for the end of the frame. The next we are having a frame control. When I am talking about a frame control, again it is a 1 byte long, and when we talk about the specific type of frame, that what type of a frame we are sending, whether we are sending a data frame or control frame. So we have to check whatever the parameters we need, how we can control that particular frame. The next we are having a source and the destination address. It can be a 2 to 6 byte long depending upon the user, which type of user or which type of field we are using. So source and the destination is a like sender's address and receiver's address. The next we are using a checksum. When I am talking about the checksum, again in spite of CRC like in Ethernet, here we are using the method checksum. This particular field contains the checksum bits which is being used to detect the errors in the transmitted data. Basically it is a 4 byte field. The next we are having a data bits, right? Whatever the frame size we are sending, we have to talk about the frame onto data. If we say the data is 0, right, so it means it is a control frames. But if we say the data is of 8182 bytes, it means it includes the control frames, data frames, as well as rest of the information when we are talking about a 6 byte long, right? This is the all about the token bus. The last we are going to discuss about the token ring. Again, this is the last project of IEEE, which is called as an IEEE 802.5. Basically here in the case of token ring, what we have to do, it is a concept which is being based on the token ring system. In this system, the stations when they are connected to each other, they are creating a ring like a structure in which each and every ring passes through the RIU unit, or you can say ring interface unit. Basically this particular unit is being used like repeaters that is being used to regenerate the signals when the receivers receive the data frames and send it to the another station after a certain amount of delays. So into that case, sometimes the signals get weak, due to which we need to regenerate the signals. So we have to use the RIU, or you can say ring interface unit. When we talk about the ring topology, these are the basic parameters we know about the ring topology. First, we know that it is a ring topology. It is an unidirectional, because in the ring topology we have studied that it is using a one directional, right? So here we are talking about the unidirectional, right? The next is encoding schemes that we have already discussed about the differential Manchester encoding schemes. Access control is being done through with the help of the token passing. Whosoever is having a token, then only the data will be able to travel. Otherwise, the user needs to wait for the random amount of time. The next we are talking about the data rates. When we talk about the data rates, it travels the data with the two speeds like 4 Mbps speed or 16 Mbps speed depending upon the user's need. Now let's talk about the token ring frame format. When we talk about the token frame format, these are the various parameters. First of all, we are talking about the SFD. When we talk about the SFD, it stands for starting frame delimiter. Basically, it is being used by each station for the arrival of the token or the data frame or to start of the frame, and you can say it is working like a preamble to synchronize the clocks, right? Then we are talking about the SFD. The next is AC. AC means access control. When we talk about the access control, we know it is of 1 byte long. Out of that 1 byte, we are representing into the 8 bits. Initial 3 bits represents the priority bits and the last 3 bits represents the reservations. Basically, which helps in implementing the priority or the reservation. Whenever the server is giving the priority 7 or the client is giving the priority 0. Because what we did, we are giving a more importance to the servers. It travels a lot of people's data, due to which we are giving the highest priority, that is 7, and we gives the client as a lowest priority onto a 0. After that, we are having 2 bits in between. First is token bit and the next is monitor bit. When I am talking about the token bit, it is used to indicate the presence of the token frame. Means if the token frame is equals to 1, right, then, or if the token bit is equals to 0, it means it is not a token frame. So we can say whenever the token bit is 1, it means it is a token frame. The last we are having a monitor bit. When I am talking about the monitor bit, it helps in solving the orphan packet problems. Orphan matlab like whosoever is moving into the network and nobody is having an address onto it. So these are called orphan. Orphan means anath, like nobody is having a right to convert it. So it is covered by the CRC, which is being very powerful. And if the monitor bit is equals to 1, it is stamped by the monitor, or if it is being 0, it is not being stamped by the MONIT. After that, we are having a DA and SA. It stands for destination address and source address of the users, which is again of 6 byte long, right? The next we are having a data bits, which can be greater than 0 if it is data bit, and the next we are having a CRC. When I'm talking about the CRC, again here we are using a CRC method to check the error detection. The next bit is frame control. When I'm talking about the frame control, it indicates the frame contains the two things. First is control information and data information, in which this byte specifies the type of the control information, right? The next is we are having a ED, end delimiter. When I'm talking about the end delimiter, it indicates that it is the mark as the end of the frame, and it also contains the bits to indicate the damaged frame or the need to identify the frames that is being the last in a logical sequence, which gives that it is a damaged frame or not. And the last field is frame status. When I'm talking about the frame status, it gives that it is a 1 byte long, which terminates the data frame. So this is all about the 3 projects. As we know, there's all these 3 terms are very important for the university papers and all. Generally for the interview questions also, they can ask you about what is an IEEE, how it is being working, what all are the projects is there, what do you mean by the term IEEE 802.3, 4 and 5 and so on. Sometimes they used to show the comparison also, that what is the comparison between all these 3 protocols. Thank you.